Gorillatag is one of the most popular games on the MetaQuest store in VR in general. With its development starting back in 2019, Lemming and later his team over at another Axiom watched as the game blossomed into a titan that all in the VR community would be made aware of. With loads of new updates, millions of views on YouTube, and VR becoming more accessible, Gorillatag and its simple to learn but hard to master mechanics allowed for it to become one of the first VR games with a mainstream appeal. But with that appeal comes an unexpected yet logical downside: hate. Now, hate is something that plagues every single video game out there. It's fairly common for people to hate something that is popular though, and in the case of Gorillatag, its popularity wasn't doing any favors for its public perception. With the world becoming increasingly toxic when it comes to multiplayer gaming, Gorillatag being one of VR's most popular games seemed to receive a lot of blame for many perceived problems in the general community. Matchmaking taking more than 5 minutes? Well, that's obviously because everybody's playing Gorillatag. Got called a racial slur by someone half your age? Well, that must be because Gorillatag made that kid buy a VR headset. And the blame didn't stop at just the game, because here on YouTube, most of the popular VR content on the platform ended up being related to Gorillatag, with potential views being in the high millions and kids generally sticking to only Gorillatag content. Most VR YouTubers and other smaller niches ended up blaming Gorillatag for their lack of viewership. And as someone who is a part of one of those smaller niches, I have to self-report and say that yes, I occasionally have found myself unjustly blaming everyone watching Gorillatag videos as a reason for my videos not doing as well as I wanted them to. And maybe in another video I can discuss this issue further, but for now, I'm here to say that in the next coming months, Gorillatag could potentially be killed forever. But who? What game development team has the guts, the innovation, the knowledge, and resources to take down one of VR's biggest games? Well, the answer lies within the game itself, because the team that's going to eclipse Gorillatag is another Axiom. That's right, everyone. Gorillatag's own development team are going to overthrow their own game with another, even bigger, even more innovative, and even more appealing title. But to understand how they will do that, we will first have to go back to 2018. Around this time, when VR was in a very early stage, one of the top games on the market was Echo VR. The game was renowned for its concept of zero-gravity VR esports, and later on, Echo VR would be featured in some of VR's biggest esports events, and overall, with it being free, everybody wanted to try out virtual reality's newest innovation. But because this game slowly and surely became one of VR's most popular titles, reaching high view counts for videos relating to Echo on YouTube was not as difficult as other games. The audience was there and constantly craving new content, and many of VR's most popular creators saw huge success in the Echo VR niche, and since it was so accessible, things were looking up. That was until Gorillatag appeared. Gorillatag's popularity soared to heights never seen before in the MetaQuest community. Peaking with player counts in the millions, the game with its digital currency Shiny Rocks provided another Axiom with plenty of capital to invest into the game, and invest they did. Lots of seasonal updates and new maps allowed for the game to continue fostering its community. However, as stated in the intro, the game started to experience mass amounts of hate, and it seems that another Axiom has seen the writing on the wall, and fortunately or unfortunately, one single game that will be coming in early 2024 is finally going to put an end to the reign of Gorillatag. What is that game, you might ask? Well, let me introduce you to A2. A2 was born out of the gap that the shutdown of Echo VR left. For those of you who don't know, on August 1st of 2023, Echo VR had unfortunately closed its doors for good, so the developers, ready at dawn, could focus more on other projects instead of being tied to supporting Echo. And while the shutdown is considered controversial for many reasons, we won't be getting into that. But if you are curious to learn more, a link to a documentary covering the whole thing will be at the end of the video. But going back to A2, the game has many of the features that Echo VR had, with zero-gravity VR esports being at the forefront. However, some of the moves made by another Axiom could end up providing what could be the smoothest community transition to a new game that VR has ever seen. Let me explain. Although there are some new quirks to gameplay, the core movement system that Gorillatag fostered has been taken and implemented into the new A2 title, meaning that for Gorillatag players and content creators alike, the transition to the new up-and-coming game will make things a lot easier. But a smooth shift isn't the only reason why A2 will kill Gorillatag, because along with its core gameplay, A2 also also has a foundation for longevity. See, in addition to potentially having consistent updates for the game, A2 is going to heavily benefit from their new level editor. As the name suggests, players will be able to go into A2 and create their own custom mods, skins, and maps. If you're wondering what potential lies in this, think about Bone Lab. Even though it's not as popular as it used to be, the user-generated content has allowed for the game to constantly stay fresh and maintain a high amount of activity on YouTube. Heck, most relevant Bone Lab videos specifically revolve around showcasing mods, so combining those two mechanics, we have ourselves a game that could explode into relevancy and retain a safety net during times when developer updates might be stale. But one thing we might be forgetting that could potentially keep a relevant community in A2 is the featuring of a never-before-seen addition known as stations. Stations by themselves are comparable to that of a lobby. However, what A2 is seeking to do is bridge the gap between matchmaking for a game and waiting in a lobby. See, one problem that Echo VR had is that after a game, you had a very short time to speak to others before you were forcefully transferred to a lobby, never to see them again. So if you ended up meeting a team that you really liked but didn't have enough time to party up, A2 would have you covered. By connecting both of the stations and arenas to one server, this would allow for a seamless transition between playing and resting, all while staying inside of VR. Think of it like a trampoline park. Once you enter, you obviously go over and start jumping, which is the main activity. Maybe you meet some people and potentially become friends. Then, in order to talk more and catch your breath, you exit the trampoline section and go over to some tables in order to rest and keep talking. This seamless transition, along with everything else mentioned, only gives proof as to why A2 is going to become the next titan on the meta quest and VR in general. Taking some of the best aspects from some of the most popular VR games on the market and combining them in a seamless and fresh new way is something that hasn't really been done to this scale, and personally, I'm extremely excited to see where another Axiom goes with their project. However, if you are a hardcore gorillatag fan, you might be having some mixed feelings right now. While yes, it is exciting that your favorite game development team is working on a new project, what's gonna happen to your old one? And while yes, I did directly say that A2 is going to kill gorillatag, realistically there's a very slim chance of that happening. But even if it does happen, that's kinda just the cycle of virtual reality. Sure, gorillatag overstayed its welcome, kinda similar to that of Minecraft in the general gaming space in terms of being the most popular game, but truly overall, just be happy that your game isn't shutting down, and I'd highly recommend that you do check out A2 once it does come out. And until then, for more A2 content, we can really only speculate. However, speculation doesn't mean a lack of content, because if you hit that subscribe button with that notification bell, you will be notified for when I post my next A2 video. And until then, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. So if you did enjoy, then please don't hesitate to leave a like and comment below. And yeah, with that said, my name is Trentig, this has been another A2 video, and I will be signing out. Peace.